he's at. But it's encouraging over, I'd say, the last 3 or 4 days.
You signed a goalie on September 11th for a season that starts October 9th. I mean, what is the level of concern that it could be something that's going to carry you a while in the season?
Yeah, I mean, we thought about that. Obviously, you're taking in all the information between what the doctors are telling you and the imaging, and then actually talking to Upi himself, and so you're taking all the information. And honestly, Mike, like, I think it's really important to have internal competition no matter what, and to protect ourselves. I think we've had a good off season. I like the way we've been intentional with how we've worked through a lot of different areas to improve our roster, improve the staff. And this was just, for me, an area where you have a goaltender in Georgiev that's played over 300 games in this league. He's played playoff hockey. He's at a great age. He's been around the league for a while. That was there, that we thought could come in and provide internal competition. And I think we have that at all positions. So I'd say that's a positive.
What is ACL's injury, and what's the diagnosis of it?
Well, it's tricky. Like, I don't want to get overly specific on exactly what it is. I'm not a doctor, but it's lower body, and he just was unable to have the strength and the confidence to perform if there was a game tonight, saying I'm 100%. So there's no alarms right now saying that it's a significant injury, like I said, but there was a tweak that he didn't feel great. So we just have to make sure we protect ourselves, and I'm really being honest with you guys that it's one of these situations where it's day to day, but could it stretch a little longer? Yes. Do we think that'll happen? No. But he may not be on the ice first day of practice. We're going to kind of see how the next 3 or 4 days go.
His body of work is very good, but I mean, he didn't have a good year last year. Just what makes you think that he could get back to being the goalie he was maybe 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, I think, you guys have heard me say this before. I just think the nature of the position, there's a lot of variability. There's a handful of goalies in the world that are just, they're there every year. And then there's a lot of movement in the next, call it tier or tiers of goaltending. So he's had success in the league. He's proven that. Like I said, he's got experience, and that's a great thing. So I just felt like organizationally, when you can add someone like that, especially with a little bit of the unknown on exactly where UPL will be, it was the right thing to do. And if you don't add someone like that and you don't get the news you're expecting on UPL, and then if some little or tweaks happens to one of the other guys, all of a sudden you have really young guys in the pipeline that are potentially here. And I just wanted to make sure we did everything to protect ourselves and get off to a good start.
He said he had a good summer and was feeling well. Is this just kind of the wrong time for this to happen? Only because you're coming in, it's a big year for him, it's a big year for you guys, and to have it start this way, does that concern you?
A little bit. What's interesting about the issue he's got right now is there's zero pain in terms of anything in the weight room, walking around. So it's just when he's in a certain kind of position on the ice, which obviously you need to be in to perform as a goaltender. So, yeah, concern is maybe the, right word, but, everything the doctors are telling me and everything that, even in the last few days, the steps he's, making leave me optimistic that we'll be seeing him sooner rather than later. But we'll know more in a few days for sure.
Surgery's been ruled out?
Yeah, for now. I mean, who knows if something, he had a setback or something. But for right now, that's absolutely not something even being discussed.
You told us a couple of times how you feel about Alex Tuck. How is that negotiation going?
So I'd say that Alex has been told very clearly by myself and the organization how important he is to us. We want him here long term. The good news is that he's said the exact same thing about being here. He wants to be here. He's made it clear to me and to us, and we've had good productive conversations with the Bartletts this summer. That's his agency, and these things take time. We're gonna work through it, but I think for me, in my experience over the years, the most important thing is you have alignment on those key principles of wanting to be here, believing in the organization, and now we'll keep working at it. So that's something that's a priority, though, for sure.
How tough is it, the climate of the league right now with these guys who are a year out? Everybody's kind of waiting, it seems. He's not in the Kaprizov, McDavid ledger, but everybody like that is kind of waiting, and it might draw things out for everybody.
That's a good observation, Mike. I think that's exactly right. There's a number of players in the league right now in similar status, meaning a year left on their contract, free agency around the corner if they chose to go that route. And I don't think it's by accident that you haven't seen a lot of extensions, coming through, especially with some really high-profile players. I think it's a nature maybe of the players trying to figure out where the market is and where it's headed. The team's trying to understand exactly, where they can go and from a cap perspective and manage it. So, I think that's real. And, but that's something that we've talked about a lot internally this summer and with Alex's camp as well.
Kevin, go ahead, Bob.
You were very open that Bo was at a unique stage of his career and he had some options and you were exploring some stuff. But ultimately, what led you to give Bo the 2-year extension? And why is he back? I guess.
Yeah, well, when I try to be honest as I can with you guys, and when I kept telling you over and over again that my intention is to keep Bo Byram on our team, I was being honest. I think he's a really good hockey player. I did not want to trade him. We're open to making any improvement we can via trade if we think it makes our team better. But my priority was to try to get him signed and also improve our roster and our D-core and the mix and find the right shot D combo that we've been looking for. And it was tricky because I wanted to do all that, but I also didn't really want to use Bo Byram as the trade piece to do that. So that was a difficult situation to work our way through. I think we got to the spot that I was comfortable, and I made it clear to Bo at the end of the season and his agent that we'd like him to be here. And we know where his status is. He signs a 2-year deal that I think gives him more time here to see how things are shaking out, and hopefully he's here a long time though. But I think it was a big deal for us to get him under contract and in a good spot and ready to start the year. And I think when he was paired with Rass last year, they were really good. And I liked the way our D-core looks. It was a big focus of how we were going to build this offseason.
He likes Buffalo and he likes his teammates. But did you have to convince him a little bit that this is the place to be, we're going to be fine type of a thing, as you were talking to him?
Bo, yeah. I think, the CBA is the CBA. Players, you have the rules of the rules in terms of when they can hit free agency and all that different stuff. And, obviously for him, he still thinks he's got a chance to continue to get better, as do I. I think he loves the city, he loves the people, he loves his teammates. He's just trying to figure out, how do I maximize and become the best player I can be. And as my conversations with him and then ultimately his agent as we finalize the deal, where I think he's in a really good spot to do that here, and so does he. I think we have an elite D-core. I really do. I think we're one of the top D-cores in the league. I truly believe it, and it was a focus and an emphasis this summer. We need to be a better defensive team. We have to keep the puck out of our net. We have to get better defensively. That's not just our D, but Bo Byram was an important piece of that, and I made sure he knew that.
Kevin, when it comes, GMs in a big picture, GMs generally get 5 years to deliver on their plan and get judged on it. Entering that season, and what are the internal and external pressures you seem to face? You might be facing or you might be feeling going into this season?
We got to win hockey games. Honestly, John, I could stand up here all day and I can explain exactly why we've made moves or what I'm excited about with the roster, and it really doesn't matter. You guys are going to write what you're going to write or say what you're going to say on the radio or TV. That's fine. We need to win, and I'm fully aware of that. And I'm excited about that because I believe in this group. And for me, I don't get up every day thinking about my own situation. I'm going to get up every day trying to improve this team, trying to be the best leader I can be for the players, the staff, and ultimately do it my way. And that's what I believe in. Working as hard as you can possibly work, trying to get better every day, and if I do that, it'll shake itself out the right way.
Almost no one in the history of the league has dealt with the situation this team is going to deal with. None of these players, none of them have been here for 14 years, but that's all they're going to hear about from fans, from media, from out-of-town media, until such time as you make the playoffs. You can't make the playoffs in October. We've seen you can lose the playoffs in November, October, December, whatever. What is the message for this team about you know, you got to start the season, but everybody's talking about the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's first of all talking about it. It's okay. You know, we're gonna go through camp, and this is gonna be a really, really hard training camp, and not as a punishment, more of we need to raise our standard, and that's gonna be. It's been very clearly expressed to the players at the end of last year through the changes we made with strength conditioning. There's a higher expectation. So, you know, that's where you start. And then we're going to have a little retreat at the end of training camp where, you know, when you get down to your roster, where there's some team bonding and, you know, some honest conversations that are going to go on that I'm excited about to kind of get everybody on the same page. And that's something we'll talk about. Like, yeah, you're right. These players can't or worry or think about 14 years ago, but they're going to get asked about it. So how do you process that? What do you do? Ultimately, for me, it's really simple. Just be in the moment, you know, and just show up every day and be a professional, put the work in. We win hockey games by doing things the right way. It'll take care of itself. And I know that's a cliche and it's easy to say that, but I just truly believe it. And if our players buy into that, the noise is the noise. You just have to block it out and understand that that's part of it.
Do you have
Importance
to do,
of having
do you
a-
have to do things differently, though, as the GM? If things go a little south here that maybe you wouldn't have done a couple of years ago?
Well, I guess differently, I don't know what you mean by differently, but I think for me there needs to be a steadiness in the way I approach every day. I believe in this group. I believe in the coaching staff. I believe in our players. I believe in this group, and I believe we're ready to take a big step this year. They have to feel that from me, and the ups and downs, every team deals with it. So it's, for me, a consistency of belief that they're going to feel, even if, you know, we lose a couple in a row or however that goes. But am I going to do everything I can to make sure that we're improving and adding to the team if there's something to do? Of course. That's always what I'm going to do. But I want the players to feel the confidence that I have, and I'm going to make sure they do.
This isn't directed at you because a lot of people have stood at that podium before you making similar statements. I believe in this team. The fan base, though, however, seems a little down, skeptical perhaps. How do you get that message across to a skeptical fan base that has had promises, vows made that haven't been fulfilled?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I said earlier, honestly, John. Like, words are words. Like, I can't stand up here and, you know, talk to our fan base and say anything other than I am genuinely excited about this team. I am. But we have to prove it on the ice. We have to win games. And we have to get that building where when teams come in, it's a fun atmosphere. It's the fans are into it. We're hard to play against. Like, that's my job, and it's taken time. You know, we have depth now at all the positions. We have roster spot battles. We have competition internally. I think this is a healthy way to go into training camp. But you're right. Like our fans we need to earn that trust and respect by the way we perform on the ice. And anything I say up here ultimately doesn't really matter. We have to prove it.
When it comes to Alex, you mentioned he really wants to be here. You really want him here. I'm curious, I guess, where the gap is, because it seems like he checks every box. Like, the risk of letting that go into the season seems like it would be not something you really want to do. Like, where is the gap, and why isn't it done yet?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you exactly, but I just think it's a little tricky to get into the nuances and negotiations publicly or any of that. So I want to be careful there. But, you know, we'd get a deal done today if it's the right deal. There's not a let's wait or this. It's just a matter of working through something that makes sense for both sides. That's the best way to say it. No matter what, deals aren't ever easy to get across the finish line. But we're going to work at it, and it's a priority. That's really the best way I could answer it.
Urgency, though, to try to get it done before the season, so it's not a distraction hanging over this team.
Yeah, I mean, it works both ways. You know, like for me, sure, you know, it would have been great in August, September, October. That's great. But they're also, for him, it has to be a comfort level of this is the right time to do it. So yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm going to continue to talk to his agents here in the coming days and have some meetings lined up, and we'll keep working at it. So I'm not going to put a deadline on it, though, Matt. I don't think that's really fair. I think it's just one of these things that he knows that he's a priority, and we just got to get it done.
Kevin, what is your vision for this team? You know, what do you want to see from this team when they step on the ice October 9th?
Yeah, I want a team that, first of all, we have to be harder to play against. We have to be a team that at the end of the night, when you use home, you know, when we're home, teams know that, man, that was a tough building to come into. That was a tough night, and I think we've been too easy to play against, and I'll take responsibility for that. And that's not anything to do with age or fighting or any of that. It's just being more competitive. So harder to play against, competitive. We identified players that we thought would check those boxes. I want a better defensive team. We have to clean up our defensive play, and I do believe that we've made some significant changes to the roster that will help in those areas, and also a team that plays with passion. You know, this is the greatest game in the world, and when you're an NHL hockey player, there's no better job in the world. So go out there and enjoy it and compete, and you know, I think that that's the type of team that I envision, and I think it's also the type of team that our fans get excited to watch.
Kevin, how or who do you think can replace JJ's offensive production?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. It's something we talked a lot about. You know, scoring is an area that we've done a pretty good job in terms of putting the puck in the net, and we have players that can score. Honestly, like, it's, to me, less about who's replacing the goals and more about how are we not giving up as many. And what are we going to do to be better defensively? Well, how are we going to manage the puck better? How are we going to just play a more mature game, and you're up a goal in the third period, and maybe you're not extending your shift, or maybe you're not trying that extra play behind the back pass, or you just, you know, those type of things. So I'm less worried, and we were very intentional about this in the offseason, like less worried about the talent and the scoring and trying more to get that harder to play against two-way veteran players, guys that understand how to play in this league, and that to me is where the focus was and needed to be.
You mentioned several times how you think this is a better defensive core. Obviously, Michael Kesselring, I imagine, a big part of that. What excites you the most? What is it about him that you think will really help elevate this team?
Yeah, I think I may have said this, you know, when we made the trade, but generally it's tough to get 6'5" right shot D that can skate and play in your top four, especially kind of in their prime years. It's just very difficult. I felt strongly that he's a type of player that can slide in and play with Owen Power. Or, you know, Lindy might change the pairs, however that works. But he's going to bring a presence. He's got a nastiness to him. He plays hard. You know, he's still evolving as a player, but I think he's going to have every opportunity to have a big role here.
But how much Owen Power first?
Good. Yep, he's ready to go, 100%, and he'll be good.
What kind of things can Michael do to help Owen Power? If they do play together a lot and get that consistency, what kind of things can he bring to Owen?
Yeah, he's long, he's competitive. You know, I think he'll have the ability to, he could skate, to get up ice, to be, you know, and he's skilled enough to be able to make plays with Owen or whoever he's playing with. But, you know, I see maybe an ability to kill plays in the D zone with his length and physicality, and then let's get the puck out and go. And, you know, Owen's proven that he can play with anyone. He can play either side, but I just think having a stabilizing partner for him is important. I've been working on this for a while, so I'm just excited to kind of, you know, see how it looks when they hit the ice.
How much of a factor was with moving JJ, thinking about where Zach Benson and Jack Quinn bouncing back, and guys like that who maybe didn't produce as much can go with their offense?
Yeah, you nailed it. I think there's some ability internally for guys to be elevated. You know, Zach's still a young player, you know, but now he has been in the league a couple years and kind of learning what you know, the league and how to make it work, and so I do expect that from him. You know, Jack Quinn, I had a really good conversation at the end of the year with Jack, and a real heart to heart in some ways in terms of honesty, that he owned where he, you know, was deficient in certain ways, and he went to work. And I believe in the character, in the work ethic, and Jack Quinn, and I'll bet on that kid all day long. So I do expect us to have some bigger production out of both those guys.
You've got happened through development camp, the prospects challenge, so you've gotten a good look at Ruddy and Murtka. What was the initial takeaway for the organization about Ruddy?
Well, he honestly, like, rookie camp's fast, physical, chaotic hockey. It's tough hockey to play just because it's, there's a lot of chaos out there. But I thought he really, really looks like a kid that's more polished than even you'd expect at that age. Just little plays he'd make. He's got a physicality and a meanness to him that we like. 6'6", and he's raw. He's got a big upside in terms of building up his body. So, love what I've seen so far, and he's a great kid. He's come in from day one at development camp, and just a presence about him, and we're excited. He's a good prospect.
Would he be eligible to play in Rochester this season?
Yeah, and that's something we'll discuss. I do like the situation he has in junior, in Seattle. So we'll have those discussions. But I'd like to see him maybe get in a game as well in the preseason here early and just kind of evaluate where he's at. But he's going to be a good one for us.
We've spent a lot of time talking about UPL and Leon and Georgiev. Where's Devin Levi in this whole thing? I mean, at what point is he ready to make the step up to the NHL level? And is this franchise losing confidence in him?
He not losing confidence at all. I mean, I believe in Devin Levi. I think I just told him this the other day. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be a really good National Hockey League goaltender. When is really up to him, and that's okay. He's in a situation right now where he's in a really good place mentally. He started to build his game and, getting the starts that he needs. He'll tell us when he's ready. And I think we've been pretty, proven this over the years. When players, push it and they're ready, then we'll figure out a way to have him here if he can help us win hockey games. But he doesn't need waivers, and it's also, it's not a bad thing for him to be able to continue to work on his game and build his game if that's what we choose. But I have no doubt in my mind that Devin Levi is going to be a really good NHL goaltender.
Who is doing Adam Merritt's job right now, and what is the organization going to do? How do you handle this going forward?
Yeah, I understand, Mike. I respect the question. I hope you can respect a little bit that obviously this is a legal issue, and he's on administrative leave, and I'm wishing him all the best. I can't really say much more than that, but we do have a plan internally in terms of just making sure that we have coverage in terms of our prospects, and we'll see. As we move forward here, we'll get that even further along in some of the meetings over the next week. But yeah, I'm thinking about Adam.
So no one has been named?
No.
When it comes to Isak Brzezinski, this is his 4th year pro. Is this the year he's got to show you guys? I mean, he didn't have a great prospects tournament. Is this the year he's got to step up and show you guys that he can play in the NHL?
Yeah, I think that's fair, Paul. He's really done a nice job in terms of his progression from when he first was drafted to where he is today. But my message to the young guys before rookie camp and even today when I meet with everybody later this afternoon is, especially as a young player, you got to go take someone's job. This is nobody in this league is going to give you anything or hand you a job. You have to go earn it. And I think, for me, Rosie's at that spot now in his career where it's time. Whether he makes a team out of training camp or starts in Rochester, when his name gets called, you kind of have to have that mentality that, I'm here and I'm never going back. I'm taking someone's job. And that's something I've told him directly as well. So, yeah, I think everybody is on a different timeline, but, I think he's been here long enough and had experience where I think he realizes that as well.
You're like scribbling down the names and you're trying to put together what you think the lineup could look like, and I know there's a lot of moving parts here. Do you have a preference between where Tage goes, whether it's at center or at wing?
Well, no, in terms of he's really capable at both, and he's more than happy to play both. What I like now is with the depth we have at center, it really gives Lindy the ability to decide how he wants to utilize Tage and where he thinks that he can be most productive. And there are people that really understand the game at a high level. We'll see even within shifts, there's times where he's playing wing, but he's kind of playing center at the same time, the way defensive responsibilities or however works out. So, I think Lindy will make that decision, but the best part is he's comfortable at either. That's the best way to say it. So with the depth we have now, with Norris being healthy and ready to go, I think it gives Lindy that flexibility.
Other than UPL, anybody not ready for tomorrow?
Tucky's day-to-day. so he may not be out there tomorrow or the next day or two, but he's nothing significant, just a little bit of a little minor thing. So that's day to day. Jordan Greenway will not be ready to go to start camp. He had a setback in his rehab and had a second surgery. I want to say it was mid-July. So probably the timeline for Jordan would be somewhere around opening night. But that doesn't mean he'd be playing. That's just to be cleared and ready to go. So he is going to miss a little bit of time here, and you won't see him during training camp.
How badly do you feel for him? I mean, he's been through a lot, Jordan.
Yeah, tough, and he had kind of, all signs were progressing well in the offseason, and then he was skating pretty hard and had a setback and, had to get re-examined and ultimately ended up having to have a second surgery. So not the news we wanted, but he's working hard right now. He'll be ready.
Is there a bit of any philosophy change a little bit with guys like Miscellaneous and Osland and that group is like, you don't need to rush them.
Yep.
You've got guys where they can stay in Rochester, develop that type of thing. Do you have a little bit of a philosophy change there?
I don't know if it's a change, Paul. I mean, I think when I look at, other than probably Owen Power's different, number 1 overall pick, and he would have come in and played on 31 other teams as well. Probably other than Zach Benson, who was a little bit of just the way he played and just every other prospect we've had, whether it was Jack Quinn or Peturka at the time or Samuelson, has come up, through Rochester and kind of, they told us when they were ready almost, just with their play. So I don't know if it's a philosophy change. Where I think it's different though, Paul, is I think we have better depth. We have competition at all positions. We have depth where the young players are going to need to take someone's job. And that's I don't care if you're a first-round pick or a free agent signing. Like, you're going to have to earn it, and that's okay. So I really like the pipeline we have. I like the competition we're going to have in training camp, and I think that's going to make our players better. But and then when they come up and they're ready to take someone's job, they're going to feel that, like, I've earned this, I'm ready. So not a philosophy change, but I like the situation we're in.
Take 2 more.
Going back to Zach, early stage of his career still, what is that progression, just development in terms of what you want to see in this next season look like, maybe compared to against some of the guys who've been in the league a little bit longer?
Well, I think the nature of a player like Zach is, always a high-end scoring type of player, meaning just, at every level as a kid. And then you get in the NHL, especially 18, 19 years old, it's tough to produce. So I think the next kind of, evolution in his game is just to more production, and then force the coach's hand where he gets more power play time because he's playing so well. And I mean, he does so many little things during the games of just the way he can dig out pucks and make plays, and he's really good defensively for a young player. But I think that's probably the next step in his progression.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot kind of changing with the cap environment, new CBA. You mentioned some of those big guys that are up for deals, kind of maybe holds things up a little bit on the market. I'm curious, I've noticed whether it was Marner, Draisaitl, like they have these bonus-heavy deals, and Florida has a ton of these bonus-heavy deals. You guys haven't done your deals quite like that. I'm curious what you've maybe noticed about that environment and what your philosophy is on structuring contracts that way.
Yeah, well, like we've something we've thought a lot about. I mean, ultimately, everybody's got a little bit of a different philosophy or how they do things, but when we started signing now a few years ago some of those extensions or longer term contracts, we kind of had a template that we used, and whether it was in trade protection or you saw probably some of those deals with maybe a signing bonus in year 1 but then flat structure after. We just feel that makes the most sense for us. But ultimately they're going to end up with the same money in a year, so it's not, for us. I understand why other teams do it, but that's for internally. We've had a lot of discussions on this, and it just feels like that's the structure that we've landed on that makes the most sense.
For guys that want it, though, is that something competitively that you're able and willing to do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's never going to change. It wouldn't be a deal breaker if that's what you're asking, but I think we have an internal structure that we've had that works for us, and that's Rasmus Dahlin was similar when he signed his extension, and so that's something that we've stuck with. But no, there's never been any sort of conversation, if that's what you're getting at, like, oh no, you can't do this or you can do that. We want to put the best team together we can possibly put. We're always keeping an eye on the marketplace and other contracts that are signed. We understand how that works across the league, but we just want the best players we can and get them done.
All right. We'll be here with Lindy in
Thank you.
just a minute.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Hey, Justin, you send that to me? I'll pop out, transcribe it, all the injury stuff at least, and I'll get it up. Okay.
So Bill was transcribing all of that.
Do you want it by opening night?
By opening, don't want to get to you. Are you that someone?
You've been doing good. You know, it's 25 years and I haven't seen
How's your summer, Dan?
Still going.
Much.
How about you?
Good. Finally slowed down work-wise in like mid-August. Just had a few weeks of not much to do, yeah, which was a good thing.
Everybody's immune to deal with the family.
For future reference, I think if you have a new car like this one,
Michael, I was hoping the Yankees are going to implode again.
that's how you can. That's how you 10-1. Whereas my wife didn't work.
We turn it off 10-4,
Against those mighty Twins.
10-9, home run in the ninth. That's crazy.
They're looking pretty safe now for number 4.
Yeah. They're the bad news Bears sometimes, so that's unbelievable.
Well, they're all or nothing. They home runs, they win. No home runs, they don't.
But their fielding is unbelievable.
You see,
Well,
could be ready for
Schlittler, it's all right.
ground opening.
Schlittler was good.
That's why I heard
Wasn't
that.
with it.
I watched the game, yeah, and the other night we watched the game where the pitcher, I think, he had back-to-back, I don't know if they were wild pitches, but they were at the, to the backstop.
You know, a young pitcher gets that big lead early, so they can't handle it.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Are you a Yankee fan, Stan?
No, I'm a Blue Jay fan. My wife's a Yankees fan.
Yeah.
I can't stand Michael Kane anymore. I just can't do it.
Man, he's
Can't do it.
Oh, I did.
I'm an Aaron Judge fan. I like Aaron Judge, I like him. Chisholm's cool, he's fun. Like, they got some guys I like in the team. I don't know if I like the manager much, but
Thank you.
Part of me is wondering like how much control he has and how much of the script he has to follow.
yeah.
He's under orders.
I can't stand Jazz Chisholm.
Too much jewelry.
I don't care about that. Just he argues everything. Well, when
Yankee way.
they add the challenge system for balls and strikes,
Yeah.
he'll be the guy to use both challenges in the first inning. Play systems challenges.
Yeah, Thursday in the middle of the
No, as a Jays fan, we're trying not to say too much right now because we can't believe where we are and nobody really saw it coming, but here they are. And if all the bodies that they have are actually healthy and can come in for the playoffs, they might.
Just hoping Bobichet's not Tony Fernandez 1987.
Yeah.
Tony Fernandez, they got hurt right before the end.
But they think Bo might be back, right, in time. I read that yesterday.
By the postseason, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All it needs to be is healthy enough to hit the ball. That's if nothing else.
Swing out of his shoes.
I was like, the guys that San Jose too. So I went out and got one after you told me about that deal.
Is that,
Yeah.
what about the guy, Santander or whatever? Is he ready?
Oh, boy.
Is he ready?
I haven't seen a game.
I know balling on a budget.
I know that he swings the bat like he did in that one. I know it's only one swing, but it looked pretty damn good. And it was a AAA game, so I get that.
There we go.
Ask Lindy if he's a Jays or a Yankees fan.
Lindy Ruff.
Gentlemen, did you have a good summer?
Lindy? I did have a good summer. Paul, yours? How was
Not
it?
bad, not bad.
Good. Was worried about you.
I'm sure you were. Lindy, you've got some new players now, some new defensemen, some new forwards, new goaltender. How are you guys going to get better defensively? I know you talked in April about that you need to get better defensively. How are you guys coming into camp and going to accomplish that?
A lot of ways. I think first our guys have had a good summer when it comes to preparing for this year, understanding, what our needs as a team have to be. A little bit of structural, work we've done as a coaching staff on putting ourselves in a better place to try to keep the goals against down, because we need to be better in that area. I think we look at some of the bodies we brought in. We're going to have a healthy Norris, the two defensemen, Danforth, real hard body to play against, Doan, hard kid to play against. So the hardness, some of the one-on-one puck compete, I think will help us in that area also.
How disconcerting is the UPL issue? And on the other hand to that, tell us what your impression was of Georgia, knowing what you know from New York.
Yeah, UPL is a situation right now. We don't really know where that's going to go. I think I'm optimistic that this is going to be like a little short term, but still have to protect ourselves. Georgiev, obviously I had him when he was young in New York. I think he's proven that he's a good quality goaltender in this league. I think he's got something to prove. I had several long conversations with him before we got into bringing him into camp. And I think his head is in the right place, and I think he's a guy that we needed protection, and he'll give us that.
And just saying that with Georgiev, how does this impact bringing him in the pecking order for the goalies, or is there a pecking order yet?
There's no. There is no pecking order because we don't know really. UPL obviously is the guy that we're looking at to be our goaltender, but with his situation, we needed another guy.
How valuable is it as a coaching staff to have the full camp compared to last year?
I think the full camp is going to be real important, where we're just going to stay in one place, and we've got a focus group. Like I said, our guys have had a good off season, and now we got to go out and go to work.
How much of a better idea do you have of what this team is and what it needs, and after laying the foundation and learning what you did from last year?
I've learned a lot, obviously. Last year, you need growth by adversity. I think as a staff we faced it, as players we faced it. I go back to the last 20 games where we were still digging in without some key players and playing some young guys. We played the type of hockey that would put us in the right place to be where we want to be when the year ends.
How much is that, the way that the season ended with that and the performance, how much does that encourage you going into this season?
I am really encouraged. First of all, like I said, we've had a good off season. I'm not going to overstate it, but we have. Some of the changes we're going to make, I think should help our team. I'd still look at our team. We've got not many teams have a 44 goal scorer, 37, a couple 20 goal scorers. We need to be better at keeping it out of our net than we need about scoring more goals. So, and I think there's a real good understanding, and where we lack the consistency, there's games where we were able to lock it down and win games. When you look at the league as a whole, when I think the number is 78% of the games were 1-goal games or 2-goal games with an empty net. It just tells you that in tight situations you have to be able to win those hockey games. We didn't win enough of them.
27 goals in JJ, is that where maybe Norris and a second-year Goalie can come in to maybe help account for that?
Yeah, definitely, Paul. I think we haven't even got to see. I think we will get an opportunity now to see the real Norris, a guy that's trained all summer, is healthy, It's his first year of training for several years because of dealing with what he'd been dealing with. We know that he's an elite player. I think you can recover some of the goals there. I think at the same time, we've got a guy that is a real good two-way player, 200-foot player, can play well defensively, a guy that we're going to look at almost in every situation. Kulik, I think, stepped in the absence of our top center, and he did a heck of a job as a young centerman. He was a big part of that last 20 games, and I think there was good chemistry there with the way he played in his own end, helping Tage out of the zone and freeing Tage up to be a little bit more up ice. That kind of connection was something that was important to us.
We have in Michael Kesselring. I don't think we've had a chance to ask you about him. I mean, obviously the right shot.
We have size, we have skating, we have physicality. I think we've got a player that is on the kind of the cusp of just becoming a really good two-way player in this league. I really feel that the right-handed shot defenseman will be just a big asset for us, moving pucks up ice, moving pucks to the neutral zone, low to high in the offensive zone where you're not digging pucks off the wall on your backhand. But we've got a guy that's really excited to be here and a guy that I think can be a big piece. He's got size, he's got everything.
You have the unique perspective of having been here before and now back. So you're really the only person who's been aware of the 14-year drought while these players haven't. What is your perspective? Do you address it? Do you approach it? Or do you flush it?
Flush it. I'll say this again. Some of these guys have been, just go to the organization. Some have been here for the full 14. Some have been here for half of it. Some players have been here for one or two. We have to just focus on one game at a time. We can't spend any time on it. The best teams in this league are going to lose 30 games.
You use Owen and Kesselring together a lot. Can Kesselring help Owen maybe become a better player if they're have a consistency together?
I look at our defense crew, and if you look at two guys you're putting on the ice that are 6'5", both guys can skate. I think the biggest thing I've tried to mention is the defending part. We have to be better. Every player has to be better in that area. Owen has to be better. Owen's growth through some adversity last year might come at the hands of Michael. He might be able to help him out. But I think Michael's at the stage where he understands what it is to be a good player in this league. And Owen is right on the tip of that too.
When you came in with New Jersey, you would often talk a lot about Dowd. Now you're his coach. You saw last year he was a top 10 Norris guy. I mean, how elite, how much of a ceiling does he have here, and how much does he need to really help carry this team?
I think any elite defenseman is the guy you look to. And we've seen when the game is kind of on the line, what he can offer. From an offensive stance, from a defensive stance. He's a game changer. We know that. He understands that. I think there's parts of his game he's still working on to improve. And I think that's one of the qualities that a really good player can have is they're never happy with their game.
You said just a second ago you have to flush the whole 14-year thing. You have to do that internally. I get that. How do you figure this team's going to deal with it, though, constantly hearing it when you go on the road, when you hear it from fans here? I mean, it's going to be everywhere until it goes.
Win games. Win games will force other people to talk about, boy, you guys are winning a lot of games. Just win games. Play good hockey and win games. Talk is cheap. We're gonna have to just win games. I want to see where that's a tough team to play against. That was a tough team to play against. That was a hard game.
What you said a couple minutes ago about how close games in this league are, what gives you the confidence that your power play can be more effective this year and potentially help you get a little bit more production in those close games?
So power play percentages went up in the league too. I think the average was like 21.8. I look at the last 50 games. We got off to a terrible start. We are looking at improvement, like from the start of the year to where we're at. We got that improvement. We look at like a Norris stepping in now, how he can help us. What Zucker was doing for us. I think we found, and I believe this, that the best power plays have 5 guys that stay together almost the whole year. And now with Norris stepping in, we feel we've got a unit of 5 that we're looking at that can help us win hockey games. And it is a very important part of the game. And even though that first couple months, it wasn't good enough for us, we were still right there late November if our power play would have pushed through.
Lindy, when you evaluated your coaching staff in the offseason, made the decision to bring back all the assistants, obviously switched out the strength coach, I'm curious what went into those decisions to retain those guys and also to swap things out at the strength coach?
First of all, I wanted continuity. Second, I did explore the opportunity to try to improve the staff. I looked at last year, 2 new coaches coming in, myself and Seth Appert, and the continuity I want to carry from last year, this year, knowing that all of us have to be better. We all have to be better. Seth knows this group better. I know this group better. Marty is the one guy that's been involved with the defense, and there's a lot of areas that we can still continue to improve. But the thought of the continuity going from last year to this year with 2 new coaches coming in last year, at the end of the day, I decided to keep it the way it was. And I believe in this group. I do. We spend endless hours. We know there's areas we need to improve, and we're going to improve them.
You're getting in that new strength staff. We've heard some guys talk about maybe this will be a tough camp, conditioning wise. Like
some guys think it's going to be a tough camp.
All of them.
So I've said we've had a good summer. I will say that I was just part of watching what was going on downstairs, and we've got quite a few players. I'm really impressed with where they're at after 5 months. And I've said when you have 5 months from the end of the season to now to make huge strides, you should be able to, if you're not a playoff team or a playoff player. I think we've got that. The initial, I've watched them skate now for a couple of weeks, and now just watching some of the testing down below. The staff has made an impression, the strength staff has made an impression on the players already.
What stands out about Murtka to you, and do you want to give him a long look in the preseason, like that a first rounder often gets, play him 4 or 5 games, maybe?
First of all, the focus will be making sure that the group we have, which I think is a real strong group, we get those guys in the right place. Really have liked the kids play in the prospect games. Really feel, I think everybody feels that this is going to be a good prospect for us. I have no real long-term plan. He's going to play. He'll play a couple of games, but the focus will be that the group we have, making sure that group is ready to go.
Dylan wants to be in the middle of the battle. We know that part of him. He's got a great shot. Do you see an offensive upside to him also as you look at him as a player?
Yeah, I think you never want to take that away from anybody. I think there is an offensive side. I think it is a side that sometimes there's surprises. It could be a good surprise for us.
How different do you think your forward lines are going to look just with all the new pieces, and how quickly would you like to get things set to get chemistry before the season starts?
I think it is the one thing that we immediately start playing with, with a healthy Norris and how he looks. What your top 6 could look like. If you go back to the end of the year where we ended up with, Kalik in the middle and McLeod and Krebs, and then an Ostland or something that we're playing in those last. Now you're looking at Norris, McLeod, Kulik. That's gonna. I think it'll play out. I'm extremely optimistic about how Norris is going to fit in and who he'll fit in with, and but at the same time, you can look at, he could be playing with a Thompson if Tuck is, maybe on the line right below him. So, we've talked about different options. And when I look at it, I think all the options are really good. I think we have some organizational depth with our forward. We have guys that are going to push for, can I be, maybe one rung up in the ladder, which I think is a good place to be.
Because of Kulik and because of Norris being back healthy, do you just start the way you finished with Tage on the wing?
Initially, I think so. And I've had conversations with Tage. It doesn't matter to him. I think that at the same time, you'll see inside of a game, he'll still take face-offs in his own zone. He'll get some reps at center ice, knowing that we can use him there. I just liked his point production better when he was on the wing. And it frees up a guy like that who can shoot and get a little head of the play sometimes to get the extra opportunities.
Kevin talked about an end-of-camp retreat that the team will have. Apparently a bonding session. Can you expand on that? We are going to really team culture. I don't even call it bonding. I'm just going to call it culture. How we want to treat each other, how we want to play, how as a group, we're going to come together as a family and get this done. Feel the importance of behind this idea.
I did it in Jersey. Did it twice there. Felt it was really good for the group. I mean, not just players, but I'm talking equipment staff, our whole staff being together, knowing that we're all in this together. And it is going to be about having a couple sessions where we're going to work on stuff that is culture of our team.
Lindy, what is your vision for this team? What do you want to see on the ice when this team steps on it October 9th against the Rangers?
Hard to play against and play well defensively.
Lindy, last year,
Go ahead, Joe.
I know last year you had a crunch time-wise to be able to cut down the roster. How quickly do you want to get it down to?
Holy crap, you're way ahead of me now. I think last year was because of really because of the Europe and leaving that and not knowing the players. Now I really feel I have a better handle on these players. I will admit right now I didn't have a good enough handle on the players. I was optimistic about where some guys would be last year, and I was wrong.
What do you need from your third pair? I think we can kind of piece together who likely your top four guys are. Understanding.
I'm not even going to get into pairs and third pairs, and I would like us to have 6 really good defensemen and 3 really good pairs. Whatever those pairs are, I think inside of a game, if you need more offense, you may see pairs switch. You might put your top 2 offensive guys. We might, if you're in a real tight game, you might see your top 2 defenders playing together a lot. But not concerned with that at all.
You mentioned culture and the team building you're going to do. How big of an emphasis was culture in some of these moves you made this offseason, whether it was Danforth, Doan, Kesselring? Everybody kind of describes these guys as culture guys.
Yeah, I think it's everything. You can throw Gertzen in there too, as part of that. He's a tremendous character guy. Hard guys. All these guys are hard guys. All these guys are incredibly hard workers. And you look at Danforth, how he got to where he got. That's an incredible story in itself. Players that have fought their way and have been able to get there and now can make a difference. And I think they can help us be difference makers.
Do you feel you had to make a change at the strength and conditioning?
last year, during the year.
Lindy, you're going to have.
I'm not going to put a date on, but during the year, Paul.
You're going to have a full training camp this year rather than having to pack up and go to Europe halfway through. How will that help you kind of reiterate your philosophies and your culture this year?
You know, we don't have travel to worry about. We don't have, you know, activities that are abroad or traveling somewhere else. We get the plan of practice every day. We get to meet in our own facility every day. I think that alone has a lot of value to it.
Noticed in your conversations with Tage Thompson just about his mindset. I mean, he won gold at the Worlds. He was back here early. He's got a real shot at the Olympic team. Like, have you noticed a different look in his eye at all?
Yeah, incredibly focused. I think the Olympics is a big deal for players. I think it's a big deal for him. I think his experience at the Worlds was a great experience. You know, he played with Doan and Kesselring over there. They were part of that experience. So, you know, we have three guys that were. I don't care what event you're playing in, but you win it. It brings you together. It shows you that you can be a winner. So, you know, instantly, I think Tage got a real good taste for that. You mean the winning goals on the end of his stick? I think it'll drive players. It'll drive. It's driven him. I think he's another guy that's had a real good summer. So I'm excited for him.
Can he bring that attitude to his teammates?
What's that?
Can he bring that gold medal attitude to his teammates? Can that wear off?
I think first and foremost you do it on the ice, and then you know you back it up with whatever you need after that, Paul. But I think when you have those qualities that you've just come off winning, I think he understands now. He was part of winning. You get a good feel for it. And it'll help push him. It'll help him be a guy that can help push his teammates.
What is Justin Danforth's journey kind of illustrate about him? I mean, there are very few guys like him in the league, really, when you look at where he started and where he's got.
It just tells you about a guy that never quits. Yeah, you know, he's had this dream, and the dream stayed alive, and you know, a heck of a player in Europe, in Finland, and then over in Russia, and then came back and, you know, made it, and has found a way to, you know, buy into whatever he needs to get done, whether it's be a guy that's extremely hard to play against, where the guy that you need to score goals. You've got a little bit of everything there. So his journey is a journey of willpower.
And for the letters yet? I assume your captain will be the same, but beyond that.
My plan for the letters, they will still stay the same.
Is there a universal trait over the course of your career with teams that have success, make the playoffs, and the teams that fall short?
You have to be able to defend. If you're gonna be a winning team, you have to be able to defend. You have to be able to score, but at important times you got to be able to defend where you know you can win a game that's 3-2 and you can keep it there.
Lindy, you said culture a few times. What is the culture of the Sabres this season? What do you want it to be?
Hard work and defending.
Zach Benson, obviously finished the season playing on the top line. Do you think that he's capable of that across 82 games?
I think he's capable of it. I think if you're in that situation, Zach had a lot of opportunities, but didn't finish. You know, I think his finish had to, you know, it has to be better if you're going to be in that situation. So, you know, I look at him. His playmaking ability was something that was, you know, really good with Tage. And how hard he plays was really good. But I think, you know, I look at some of the breakaways and some of the high-quality opportunities that, you know, didn't finish on, that I think if you're going to be that, you know, that top-line player, it has to convert into being in the back of the net. Thank you.
Wear your walking shoes tomorrow, folks. We will have practice here, and then we're going to do media availability across the street at Kevyn, so just a little bit of going back and forth. Anyone have any questions on anything?
Is tomorrow press conference across the street or is it?
Yeah, so media availability will be across the street in press conference format, just the locker rooms are so wonky right now, and you have guys going in and out, so we'll come around during practice and just get a gauge on who everyone needs, and then we'll go from there. So,
Thank you.
anyone else have anything?
It's based off of like games played, like the first group is likely gonna be like veteran.
I would assume so, I actually have not seen the groups, but, we'll have those for you guys tomorrow, but I